So I wanted to make this video for all of those high performers and high achievers that are dealing with long COVID, chronic fatigue, trauma, any of those kind of dysregulation conditions. Because I was that person. I trained all the time. I competed for GB at judo. I ran a business. I did all of these things. And I always loved to push myself. I always loved to drive and just be so driven in what I was doing. And I know so many of you who end up with these kind of conditions are the exact same. And it's almost funny the number of people I speak to who were really high up in their business. They were really high up in their sport. They were really driven. They were really determined. They had all of these good things. And it's like an extra knife in the gut when not only are you stuck with this frustrating illness and unable to move and unable to do all the things that you wanted to do before, but it's almost as though you've had an identity just robbed of you. What made up such a important and critical part of your life before, this ability to push yourself, this ability to perform, the enjoyment and satisfaction you got out of wanting to be the best and wanting to push yourself to your max, is just completely stripped away. And I experienced what I really think was some kind of, I guess, ego death when it came to this side of things. Because before, I was the guy who was training at an elite level, I was working at an elite level, I was doing all of these things, and I prided myself on that and that ability to push, and I loved it. I love to be good at things. I've always hated mediocrity. I've always wanted to be the best, and I've always wanted to keep pushing myself. And that was suddenly stripped away. And I became so despondent because of what I thought I had lost. I was despondent at the fact that I was losing my golden years of training. I was losing my golden years of building something for the future for my family, the golden years of becoming the best that I could possibly be. And I found this really, really difficult to reconcile. And one of the most depressing things as well, when I looked and scoured the internet trying to find people who were recovering or doing better or improving, was I just would see a sea of people who maybe were back to a decent position in life, but all I would hear was that recovery just means finding and accepting your new normal, becoming at peace with the fact that you can't do these things anymore, and becoming at peace with the fact that you no longer will be able to do judo or martial arts, but you can actually be happy without doing that. And I just thought, fuck that, because I reject that entirely. And at the beginning, I think it was pure coping. It was a coping mechanism where I felt so attached to judo and training and achieving as an identity that I needed to find a way to get back. And I spent years in this state where I desperately trying to prepare myself for my return, desperately making sure that I would get back. And I found that really, really difficult. But as I've gone on and as I've learned and as I've got myself better to a point where I am now back training and loving life and doing all of these wonderful things, I'm building a business which I want to make one of the most transformative businesses in the world. I have massive monumental plans for it. So I completely reject this notion of just accepting my new normal. And I am in no way just accepting to learn with the limitations within my body. I always said that would not be the case. But one thing I will say is that what's my drive, what's my desire to be the best, and my desire to want to do great things has not changed. The angle in which I approach it most definitely has. And it's not from a sense of, oh, well, I actually don't care about being the best anymore. That's not the case at all. But it is the case that I now do things and push myself from a completely different lens. And when I reflect on what I was doing before, whether it was judo, whether it was business, whether it was life in general, I was pushing and wanting to be the best and wanting to succeed out of pure desperation. I needed to train 2 or 3 times a day because I could not sit with my body and I could not sit with the sensations that I was dealing with. And so I had to push myself. I wanted to be the best and to have a successful business, not because I loved my business, the model, what I was doing, what I was creating, but because I needed to prove something and I needed to seem and feel worthy out of what I was doing and the material wealth and objects of whatever that I built as a result. And now I am still deeply determined. I am gritting. I have so much grit towards these things that I want to do. I'm back doing Muay Thai, and I want to be really good at Muay Thai. I want to throw kicks with venom. I want to be able to fight well. I want to be able to spar well, and I want to build my business to be a transformative program for hundreds of thousands of people around the world. And I have no small goal with that. I have bigger ambitions, if anything. But the way in which I approach it now, and the way I think about these goals, and the way I think about challenge has completely transformed. And I'm not doing it because of desperation. I'm not training Muay Thai out of desperation to feel numb and feel something in my body that will finally go into rest. But instead, I'm doing it because I love the craft. I love what it does to me. I love the mental challenge that it gives me. I love learning. I love the fact that I will always be a novice and I have so much to learn. And I love building my business because I have found my thing and I just love what I do. I love helping. I love sharing all the knowledge, and I'm personally invested in making it the most unbelievable thing that there is. So I just wanted to share that for those who I know are out there who have been the high achiever. You've been so wrapped up with that as your identity, and suddenly it has been stripped. And the only hope that you will hear from people is that as with time you'll learn to accept your new normal, and you magically won't care about doing things well and achieving anymore, because that is bullshit and it is not true. You will still be able to achieve, you will still be able to work, you'll still be able to have drive, but you will do so from a wonderfully rich and abundant position now, one where you care not about satisfying this inner critic and this inner beast that you can never satiate, but instead out of pure love and joy of the challenge of the constant lifelong journey of development. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful place.